Hi everyone, long time no see, but I'm ready to rant and rave. It's Sergeant Lamb today, my counterpart. He's MIA, so we're just going to have to move forward with the mission. So, I've been gone for a couple weeks, and there's been a lot that has happened. First off, all the troops are out of Iraq. And let's see, since that's happened, there's been massive bombings and explosions that have basically started the culture war of the Sunnis versus the Shiites. Okay, so let's just think about this. Alright, 8 years later, $1 trillion later, and 6,000 lives later, we have successfully done nothing to change Iraq, okay? Once again, and I said this, I called this a long time ago. I said whether we're there for 2 years, 8 years, or 20 years. These are people that have been trying to kill each other for centuries, okay? Nothing is going to change. And it's a really, it's such a tragedy that their democracy hasn't even lasted 1 month without us there. And it just really streamlines how much of a waste of money, a waste of lives, and a waste of time. And how many more terrorists did we create by invading a sovereign nation? So just really sink that and say, wow, what a complete, utter disaster that Bush got us into. So yeah, so Iraq is officially another crap hole. And people, keep in mind, the country of Iraq was never, that was a creation of its own. Because, they're again, it's a tribal. You got the Shiites and the Sunnis, and they always have hated each other, and they were territorials, and then we just, formed it into a nation, and it really should never be. These are people that they're secular, and they hate each other, unless there's a dictator like Saddam to keep everyone at bay. And that's why the U.S. likes to put dictators in place, because they keep the peace, so to speak. But they definitely don't like the fanatics. But now it's just, good old culture, religious wars, same old, same old. So nothing changed there. So all you people that hold a lot of Iraqi cash, you dinarians as we like to call it, I'm sorry, you wasted your time. So if anybody ever sold you into thinking you were going to make a lot of money off Iraqi cash, it's never going to happen. But, enough about the Middle East. That's another disaster waiting to happen. Actually, let me go back to the Middle East. Afghanistan, I just want to say right now, once we leave there, this is exactly what's going to happen. So we'll just kind of lock that one in kind of throw it away for now. But just keep in mind, I was right. And all these hippies, they're like, you're not patriotic, blah, 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 we're bringing them freedom. Okay, I was right. All right, just remember that I was right. Okay, moving on back to U.S. politics. So this week we had the Iowa caucus. And I'm amazed how much money and how much advertisement and how much hype went into the Iowa caucuses. Because keep in mind, the amount of people that participate in the Iowa caucus is 120,000. All right, that is nothing. All right, in the grand scheme of things, not only has the Iowa caucus never actually picked recently the winner of any type of nominee or presidential campaign, but it's just amazing the hype about it. So we're talking 120,000 people in Iowa participate in the caucus. But somehow that is like the deciding factor of who's going to be this ridiculous nominee. All right? And also, keep in mind, Iowa is a blue state. Maybe one thing if it was Florida or Utah or Arizona, unfortunately, that always ends up being a red state. But no, Iowa is a blue state. So it's just such a big waste of time. And I love how Mitt Romney, who spent a lot of money, as opposed to Rick Santorum, who spent no money, Mitt Romney only won by 8 votes? That really, 8 votes. When Karl Rove says he found some votes in his back pocket, that's when you really need to start to worry. But 8 votes. The true victor was Rick Santorum. And please, if you want to see some nasty, just go ahead and Google his name. But yeah, so the real winner was Rick Santorum. And I love Michelle Bachmann, who's finally decided to step aside, even though she got totally wasted. And again, this is a woman that was never actually running for president. She was just building her war chest. All right? And what do you mean? She was in the presidential race, nominee. No. Herman Cain was on a book tour. Newt Gingrich is on a book tour. All right? Rick Santorum, this is basically, he's trying to get a job at Fox. All right? Because What the last presidential election proved is that idiots like Sarah Palin, you can actually fail and become more successful when you fail, especially in today's media. I mean, let's take a look at our celebrities, or the people we like to call celebrities on reality television. They really haven't done anything or accomplished anything, but they're millionaires. Sarah Palin, perfect example. She actually quit the governorship, and she's still looked at as a celebrity and somebody that knows something about politics. You know, like oh, she has a job at Fox, giving commentary from what professional background? If you quit. So I'm not surprised that she did give Michelle Bachmann advice telling her to quit, because, wow, you know, that makes sense coming from her. So Michelle Bachmann has stepped aside. Now she has a good war chest. And let me explain what war chests are. It's the same thing with Ron Paul. Ron Paul knows he's not going to ever make, a libertarian will never pass in a general election. Because no matter how, you know, the Rush Limbaughs and all those crazy right-wing Republicans want to say, Americans want this. No. Really, Americans want a moderate. That's why you never see the landslides. You always see, okay, 49 to 51, all right, or to one way or the other, or 52 to 48. It's never like 75, okay? So really, Americans, we like a moderate, all right? So Ron Paul knows, and he's even given interviews saying, oh, I don't want to be president. I can't imagine being president right now. It's the worst time to be president, all right? But if you run for president and you lose, not only do you have a lot of campaign funds in your coffers, but what you have are delegates. That's what you have. You've already rallied the masses. You have a big pool of potential voters that will vote whichever way you endorse. So you can go up to, let's just say Mitt Romney, when he gets the nominee, and he will, despite everyone hates him. When he does get that nominee, you say, hey, I'm Ron Paul, Mitt. You got to do this for me because I will add to your potential voters. Because I will endorse you, and all my delegates will flock to you. It's called king-making, all right? And that's what this is all about, political war chest. That's all they want, more ammunition, all right? So keep in mind, the only person who's really running for president is Mitt Romney. That's why he will get the nominee. And also, you know, you got Rick Santorum, who did another interview saying that he thinks contraceptives should be illegal. Really? Are we back to that? And also sodomy should be illegal too. It's like, I can't stand when people vote Republican. They have nothing to offer you. They can't win on the policy, so they'll try to suppress as much voters. You know, you have to have an ID. Well, what if you're elderly and don't drive? You need a driver's license. Okay. So they're going to try to suppress voters. And I've always said this before, if they could win on the issues, then they would be winning. Or they would be talking about the issues. But no. We're going to talk on the cultures. That's where they win. They win on the culture. So instead of going up there and saying, I have a new economic policy and how to bring us from the brink of destruction or whatever, they're going to go on there and on radio and talk about abortions, or they can talk about contraceptives and all that stuff. And it amazes me because Republicans, conservatives, they're all about small government. But they want government so small that they can actually just fit it in a woman's uterus. Because how are we going to enforce this? If it's illegal for sodomy and contraceptives, how are you going to enforce this? Okay, that just sounds like a bigger government. Because now the government is in my bedroom. And that's what I always am dumbfounded. Like, you want small government because you don't want government to ever regulate, our food or our vehicles to make sure that they're safe for us to drive or eat or whatever. But you do want government to tell me where I can put it, and when I do put it there, what I can do with it. And they want to suppress women's right to actually choose if they want to procreate or not. And it just, again, they're bringing us back to third world. Because, the more educated and more empowered women are in a culture, all right, the more productive that culture is, the more of a free society it is. When women have the right to reproduce at their own whim, you don't end up with tons of children in poverty. You don't end up with, which is such an impoverished country, okay, when everybody is equal. And again, that's what they all hate. They want to bring us back to the days of slavery and just all those the good old days, because it's just a good old boys club, I'm just amazed that we want smaller government, but we want to throw in every aspect of your personal life. So again, why would people vote Republican? They have nothing to offer, and they haven't done anything right. And of course, if there is anything wrong, it's Obama's fault, But again, I mean, speaking of Obama's fault, boy, Michelle Bachmann, talk about class. And her secession speech, when she was stepping aside, all it was is how Obama is destroying this country with health care. You might as well went on a rant and rave about his birth certificate, for Christ's sakes. I mean, are we still... Is anyone... I mean, please let me know. Are you really thinking that healthcare is going to destroy our society? Okay? It's not endless wars. It's not anything like, anything like that. It's healthcare. That is going to destroy our society. There's an old saying, if you want to rule an empire, there's 3 things you got to do. You need constant war, because the young generation of men is constantly away, and there's constant fear, because fear helps you control. So you need constant war, you need bread, because you need to keep the poor people fed before they revolt, and you need circus. You need to keep the poverty entertained. And that's what we have. We have constant war, all right, because it's an industry, and we keep our young men overseas. And we do have some handouts for, food, for the poor and everything. We do that. And we have circus that keeps people entertained and uninformed. And the circus is always and always will be Fox News. That is what will destroy our country way before me going to a doctor and him not rejecting me for a, pre-existing condition. But anyways, until the next time, Sergeant Lamoureux, hoorah.